Now let's talk about the Olympics specifically and what is sort of a flash in the pan just for the Olympics and what actually will last and stay after the Olympics gone. I mean, of course, the architecture, the bird's nest and stuff like that, that's just for the Olympics, although it could be used. But has there been a real change in infrastructure as a result of the Olympics that will lead to productivity after the sportsmen go home?
Well, David, earlier this week there was a meeting with officials, a private one, where the chairman of the Olympic Committee said that things were going so well here that they were thinking about having the Games in Beijing in 2012. And at that meeting, several security officials fainted. There's a thing called Olympic fatigue here, where people have been working so hard for so long, they're about ready for this to be over. The infrastructure will stay, subways, roads, and so forth. The spending is not the issue. The best infrastructure that's come out of this, David, is the attitude of the people that feel so proud that they've been able to bring China out to the world a little bit, and the attitude of the Americans and Europeans who've been here, spent time with people, and realized that, hey, these are human beings. They have the same problems we do. They're at a different point in their development curve. We have to live together. Let's get on with the work and fix all of the world's problems.
Yeah, it's great that that is happening. I've been hearing from others. In fact, our own Ryan Smith is going to be reporting tomorrow on those kind of emotional exchanges, which are very powerful. Finally, electrical grids. We've been talking about a lot of electrical grid problems here in the United States, but I know as China continues to industrialize, is having trouble sort of catching up in its electrical grid system with all the new productivity. Is the Olympics changing that at all?
Well, actually, the Olympics meant a lot more copper wire had to go in, so a lot more demand for copper. So if you're looking at copper prices, building that grid and building the subways is one of the big drivers. That's going to continue. What most Americans don't know is in a given city in China on a Tuesday, 20% of that city's industry will be shut down because they don't have enough electricity to do it. Electricity means coal. Coal means pollution. China's building nuclear plants. By the way, America is not. We need to do that. And so they need more electricity. But for another point, David, if they could turn that electricity on, they'd be able to light up that extra capacity. That would make growth go up. It would also make prices go down. So there's a latent or virtual deflation pressure built in the situation from the lack of electricity to run those plants.
All right. John Rutledge, we're going to let you get to some of the... I hope you get a chance to go to some of the Olympic Games yourself instead of just doing business all the time. I know you're a workaholic. John Rutledge,
absolutely.
Thank you very much, reporting from Beijing. Well, let's bring in our board of directors. Jack joins us, and Sandra Smith joins us as well, and Gary is still here. So, Sandra, you actually know a couple of the people that are competing in China right now, right?
Go Tigers, yeah. I ran track at LSU. Ran with Muna Lee and Lolo Jones, and Muna Lee won the 100-meter trials, American trials, and Lolo Jones won the 100 hurdle trials for America. So they are definitely top picks over there in Beijing. Watch them this week.
So what do you think? Will China itself, we know that it's been good for propaganda, it's been good for relationships between people, but will China use the Olympics and come out sort of a newer country as a result of it?
All right, well, I'll say I've been covering China for years because before now, I was strictly a commodities reporter. So I would say to pin this all on Beijing '08, saying that this is the big turnaround for China. No, this has been happening. Their growth rate's been 9% over the past decade. But what is important is that they spent $34 billion on these games. $26 billion of those dollars went to infrastructure changes. And you just heard it from John. All the changes that they made for transportation, telecommunications is another huge one. All of these changes are only going to exacerbate the growth that is happening over there. And I think it's a small blip on the radar, but obviously it's going to make things better.
Well, but Jack, of course, we're slowing down. The whole world's slowing down. It's not just the United States. Europe is having more trouble now. So will China be able to have enough internal growth?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they're not going to be able to export everything as much as they've been doing in the past.
This is on its way to being, its own sort of self-sustaining economy. In China, they're raising a generation of only children who have grown up to feel a little bit privileged, and they have more money than ever before, and they're going to grow. They're going to go through their lives wanting many of the things that we have here. And as far as the changes, the environmental issues that they have there. China, it's worth pointing out that if you go to Cuba, you can't find an incandescent light bulb One thing that authoritarian governments are very good at is snapping their fingers and making rapid change, much faster than we could make here. When China puts its mind to clearing up the air, it'll clear up fast.
But there's also the argument that there's going to be a hangover from all of this. You know, I mean, they put into these 5-year policies on, you know, businesses will not be punished if they're not green, et cetera. 5 years. But, you know, what happens after that?
So, Gary, we got 30 seconds. Will there be a hangover or will it be a positive change after the Olympics?
Look, I think John Rutledge said something important here. They are 5,000 years old just to get to this point, and there's still tremendous poverty there. So many people make $2,000 a year. China is who they are. There's still a lack of freedom and human rights, and they're going to be who they are going forward. They're going to do for themselves as best as possible. I don't think much change comes from this. Once it's over, the Olympics are over, and they'll just be who they are.
Yeah, they got a long way to go, but I guess the question is, which direction are they going? And I think most people would agree it's a positive direction.
I'll use the Jimmy Rogers argument. 1.3 billion people, they're moving out of the country into the cities.
We got to leave it at that. Coming up on deck.